Here, Tamzin Hall is back from the UK, and we're so happy to have Tamzin back. I feel like my life has been on pause since the last time we chatted. Tamzin, welcome back to the show. Happy to have you here.
Hello. Hey, how are you?
I
You
am
okay?
great now because Tamzin Hall is here. I don't know if anyone else has caught the news, but Tamzin Hall is here. So I'm very happy. It's good to see you again.
Good to see
How's
you
the family? What's going on?
Good to see you too. All good, all
Good.
good. What's going on? Busy, just busy. Life's busy, isn't it? Really busy. I'm waiting for spring to spring.
Yeah.
Spring to
Yeah, like I
spring.
mentioned before we hit record, it's snowing in Canada today on April 18th. Which is ridiculous,
Yeah,
Tamzin. It's April. Come on. It should be like bunnies and flowers
I know.
and rainbows. Not snow.
And baby lambs, and I just need some
I know.
sunshine. So I'm waiting for that to
Okay, so we
happen.
both agree on that right at the beginning, and I love that.
Yes.
Your website is gorgeous. You've done some updates. Talk us through what's happened on Tamzin Hall Coaching.
Yeah, I've added my own sunshine to the world, I
Yeah,
feel.
it's beautiful.
Like I'm I've really gone all in on bringing fun and play into what I do and helping my clients to bring fun and play into what they do because the research shows that when we are having fun and we have fun through play, but when we're having fun, we are more successful. And that's a really easy way to become high performing. So I've done lots of research into play over the years, and I've really decided to go all in on play for my business.
Nice.
So that's what I've been doing. So my my website is lots of fun and lots of playing.
I love going there because the first thing you see across the top is 4 ducks in a row, and that's hard to do is get all your ducks in a row, apparently. So the saying goes. So
Absolutely.
you have that right there for us, and the colors are amazing, and you want to. This is a website you want to go to and stay. You just want to stay here for a while. It's really nice. So well done, well done.
Thank you. I've got a friend that's just moved to America or moved back to America. She's American. And I sent it to her and said, just check this all out for me just to make sure that it's okay. She's in marketing. And she said to me, I keep going to I've got one of my tabs is called Play with Tamzin. And she said, I keep going to Play with Tamzin because I just want to come and play with you. I just want to come and just have fun with you. And I can't, I'm in
There you
America.
go. I love it.
That made me chuckle.
I love it. So, Tamsin, you've been on for many episodes, and I really appreciate you coming back again to talk podcasting, to talk about content creation, to help people. And that's kind of the focus today. Is I really want to hone in on the listener that's with us today and how we can help them, and kind of encourage them on their journey, whatever they're working on. We're podcast focused here on that podcast series, obviously, but there's other people listening that are doing other things as well. So, how do we bring play into our workday? How do we bring play into our content creation, our presentation? Maybe we're not that playful. How do we tap into our
Mhm.
playful side, Tamsin? Talk to us.
Mm. Oh, I love that question. I love that question. So I'm going to start with that one. How do we tap into our playful side? Because play is different for everybody. If I say play to you, you'll say something very different to if I say play to a
Right.
10-year-old. Very different. However, the way that I see it is that we all have an inner child in us. If a toddler comes up to any single one of us and hands us a mobile phone, you pretend to press the buttons, you go, hello, and you play with that toddler. And that is inside of us all. We have this child that wants to
Mm.
play. And that's why things like uh, coloring or sitting down making puzzles or doing something in a mindful capacity works really well because we are playing. We are doing something that is taking us away from our really boring adult lives and we're adding some fun into it. And that fun's different for everybody. So somebody who thinks jumping out of an aeroplane is fun, somebody else might think, just building a Lego house is fun. So it's really different for everybody. You don't have to think big. You can think big, but you don't have to. But it could be throwing a ball for a dog. It could be just sitting on a swing and swinging on a swing. It could
Right.
be just throwing pebbles into the sea. It could be really small, but the point of doing it is you enjoy it. And it is clearing your mind, and it's taking you from this boring to this playful, I can do anything. I can be that child that I was, for me, 30 odd years ago, and I can imagine something amazing. I can create a story that can change my world. I can have so much fun with a stranger that I've never met. I can build a sandcastle and have so much fun doing it. And when you're a child and you're building a sandcastle, you're not thinking about who's going to come and knock it down. You're not thinking about perfectionism. You're not thinking about how it should be, what it ought to look like, what society tells us it should be. You're not thinking about all of those things. You're just building something amazing in the moment. And then you're proud of it. And just breaking down those barriers of this, what it should be, what it ought to be, what I should be doing, saying. Let's forget about that. Let's just have fun and just open up the world to so many possibilities and open up our lives to so many possibilities. It really is game changing. It really is.
I like when you have a childlike attitude towards life where it is what it is. It doesn't need explanation. It's like, what is this? It's a rock, but it's now a phone, and I'm playing with it's a phone. I don't have to explain it. It's just the way it is. Whereas adults and people who are adult-like, we have to have explanations and rules and guidelines and plans and deadlines, and everything kind of seems to be less playful. So we created a world for us that doesn't equal play. And for somebody like you to come on here and say we need to play more, it's like, Tamzin, do you know how busy I am? I don't have time to play. And right there is probably
but you need to.
There's the problem right there, right?
Yeah, you absolutely need to. There's a reason why Lego invented Lego Serious Play. It's because you're taking Lego into boardrooms and helping CEOs, directors, senior management teams, leaders to bring out their inner child and think about all these possibilities through the power of play and break down barriers, create projects, share ideas. That works through playing. And it works in everything we do, from business owners to directors to being a parent to building a business to creating a podcast to anything. If we just sprinkle a bit of fun into it, that's when amazing things happen.
Because I think when people get so focused on thinking about their content, thinking about their podcast, thinking about their business, they spend all their time thinking about those things. It becomes more of a hassle in a sense, where it's just, I have to think about my podcast or else, I'm not going to be creative. And the moments when you take a step away and you stop thinking about whatever that is on your to-do list and you play, you find some creative outlet where you are now thinking with a different part of your brain. A different part of you is engaged, and you become more creative. And now you have a new idea for your whatever that you can take back to your to-do list and see things in a new light, because you're not so wrapped up in the tasks. You had time to play and unplug and go over to a different location and tap into something new. I love what the website's about, and I love what you're doing, because I think we all need that as content creators, is the opportunity to step back from the hamster wheel of podcast, writing a book, content creation, all those things that keep us going. And we end one task, we start the next one, and we never have a chance to play. So I love where you're heading with your website, with what you're doing. It's great.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
cool. So that's our big tip for today. Take some time to play after you listen to our episode. Then go take some time to play. And if you need some inspiration, go to tamzinhallcoaching.co.uk and see what we're talking about and check out all the ducks. And a guy in a really cool yellow suit who is just the coolest dude I've ever met. So pretty amazing. So great website, Tamzin. I love it. I love the updates. What's some wins for you at Tamzin since the last time we chatted? Give us an update. What's something big for you that's happened and you're like, wow, this really happened for me?
It's something big
or little.
Well, I tell you what is big in terms of I haven't achieved it yet, but I'm going to say it. So I think by saying it, I will achieve it.
Like it.
Oh, my tempting fate. I'm just going to say. I'm just going to say. So I have got my exam in a couple of weeks. It's a 3-hour exam. It's my ACC, so it's my ICF, which is the International Coaching Federation exam to become accredited coach by the ACC. So I've got that in a couple of weeks. So that's a biggie. That's a biggie that I've registered for it. I've paid for the exam. I've got my slot. I've got my date. So that's a biggie. Haven't quite achieved it yet. So next time I come on, I can be the letters after my name will include ACC. I'm big about letters after my name. I want as many letters as I can after
Get
my
the whole
name.
alphabet. Yeah, I love it.
So that's a biggie. And my son plays golf. I've told you before, my son plays golf. He's got his handicap. His handicap's coming down very nicely. So there's lots of celebrations in our house about handicaps. So that's good. And do you know what? I think that's probably about it. I think. I'm sure, you know, I'm going to get off the call with you. I'm going to be
and this.
I should have said that. There was that, and that was
one
huge.
of the things that you said that made me very happy is the next time I come on with you, Dave. I'm like, oh, that made me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. So thank you. That made me feel
So what about you? What about you? What
I'm starting to get some people who want help with their podcast, which is great. So various degrees of that. So I'm opening the door, putting the shingle out, saying I will help you with your podcast. So that's fun. I had a guy, this really touched me, Tamzin. I had a gentleman who listened to my Living My Side Hustle podcast. And it's a podcast for anybody who has something on the side, whether you want to leave your job or have something in addition to your job. And it's a great podcast. I love it. I do it with my wife on occasion too. She jumps on with me. So it's fun to do a podcast with your wife, your spouse. And so he reached out to me in a Facebook post and said he wanted to speak to me. And I'm like, his name is Keith. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure, Keith. And we set up a Zoom call. And he came on and he looked at me on the Zoom call. And I'm like, hi. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know which podcast you're here to talk to me about. I have 7, right? So I'm like trying to ask little questions to kind of get the conversation going in the direction. He said, I listened to your Living My Side Hustle podcast. He says, I'm in Ireland. And he said, I had a stroke. He said, I was in for surgery and the doctor made a mistake and caused me to have a stroke. He said, I'm almost better, like I'm almost back to full function. But he said, in the time of being in the hospital, I connected with the people that were like me. And he said, what I want to do is I want a side hustle that allows me the opportunity to go volunteer back at the hospital where I was treated so I could be with the families and with other people who were just like me. So he's like, I want to create something and I'm just looking for a way to fund my desire to volunteer. He said, Dave, I listened to your podcast as I walked the beaches of Ireland. And I'm like,
isn't that beautiful?
What a moment, right? Here I am in my basement in Canada putting out a podcast. I can see the stats. I can see people are listening, but I don't know the story behind the listener. And for me, that moment of him coming on and saying, you've inspired me. He said, I listen to other podcasts like yours, but there's something different about your show. And I just really wanted to reach out. And the fact that you said yes to meeting with me was like so kind of you. He's like, who does that? So
isn't that beautiful?
Amazing? So the power of a podcast.
Yes.
And now to know that
Yeah.
Keith is listening to my voice as he walks the beaches of Ireland,
Yeah.
I'm just like what a picture in my
Oh,
mind. Next time I go to the mic
yes.
to record my next episode, I'm thinking about Keith.
Yeah.
Right? He's not
Yes.
some imaginary listener
No.
that I have kind of planned in my head of who he might be or she might be. I have a name.
Mm.
And now I can talk directly to Keith. And when I now think of content that could benefit Keith, that could also benefit Sarah or Tamzin or whoever who are listening
Yeah.
now, because I have a
Yeah.
clearer focus of who my audience really is. So that was just like a moment for me where I was just so surreal to have a listener on the screen with you and be able to talk to them directly.
Mm.
What a powerful moment.
That's something that's like a moment in time that you just want to capture, isn't it? Just take a snapshot of it and just be like, he's taken the time to come on. Keith has taken the time to come on and speak to you and share that with you. And it's that ripple effect. Everything that you do, you're making a difference to someone else. And because of you, they're making a difference to someone else. And because of them, someone else is making a difference to somebody else. And it's that real, if you didn't do what you were doing, if you had stopped and said, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to, all of those thoughts and feelings that come into every single one of us when we're starting something new, if you'd have let that stop you from going forward, you would never have helped Keith.
Yeah.
And from what Keith's learning from you, he would never have been able to help people that he's helping.
So I have one more for you. I wanted to get somebody on my podcast, out of podcast series, to talk to podcasters about their voice, how to protect your voice, healthy ways to keep your voice healthy, and how to find your voice, how to get beyond your opinion of your voice. So I had a voice coach from California come on. And in our pre-interview, we were just doing our chit-chat and making notes and talking. And he said he's leading an a cappella group in California, and he's getting this group together, and they're working on a new song. And I said, oh, that's interesting, because on one of my other podcasts, I have a music podcast called the Add to My Playlist podcast. I said, I just had a Grammy-nominated artist on, and he did an a cappella song and got nominated for a Grammy Award. I said, I have his contact information. He said I could hook up anybody that would be interested to talk to him. He would love to speak to you. And his name is Matt. And he looked at me, the guy that I was having the pre-interview with about the voice coaching. He looked at me funny and he said, Matt? And I'm like, yeah, Matt Couson, Grammy-nominated a cappella arrangement he did. He's like, was it the song blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, yeah, that's Matt. He said, I just sent that song to my group yesterday as the song we're going to be working on as perfection. This is where we're heading with our group. This is what I want to do, is the actual song of the artist that you're talking to me about. And I sent the email yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, well, that's interesting. Like, in all the world, to pick one song and then the next day meet some guy in Canada who knows the guy that wrote the song. And now, by the time I was done, I sent Matt an email. I said, Matt, here's your connection. This guy would love to talk to you. Within 30 minutes, Matt had already reached out to the person, and I heard back from my new voice coach guest that they already made connections together. Right, and I'm here in Canada. Again, I haven't met personally Matt. Yeah. I haven't met this other guest personally. We're all in different parts of the world. And being able to do that connection piece as a podcaster, for me, that's just so satisfying to close off and shut down for the day, knowing that now two other people who have never met are doing life together. And where that goes, I have no idea. Do I get any impact for that? No. And I'm not doing it for that reason, but I was part of that connection. And that just for me means so much in this space, right? It's so cool.
Oh, isn't that just amazing? Isn't that just amazing? It's just making such a difference to everybody. It's just really making an impact.
So surreal. Right. And I think when you first come to starting your podcast, you really don't have any idea of what kind of impact you're going to have in life. And you have that little thing that
No.
says, who are you to do this? Who are you, Tamzin, to have this colorful website
Yes.
and bring play into business? Who are
Yes.
you? Who's going to listen to you,
Yeah.
Tamzin? Dave, who's going to listen to your
Yeah.
show? Some guy in Ireland walking around the beach in the ocean? No. Yes. Yes, that can happen.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And as we discussed a couple of minutes ago, if anybody's listening to us today and thinking, I don't know if I can, I don't know if I could, I don't know if I should, I don't know. You have to. You have to. If Dave hadn't done and pushed through and created this, he wouldn't make a difference to Keith. If anyone's thinking, I'm not sure, if it really sets your soul on fire, do it. Just do it. Your future clients, your future listeners, future people that you are going to help, they need you to do it. Don't stop. Just do it.
When we talked about a person I met that found my podcast by Googling the name of the podcast, and he lives in your part of the world. And when he came on to see me for the first time on Zoom, he's looking at me, and we've never met. And I'm like, hey, it's Dave from the How to Podcast series. Nice to see you. And he's like, it's you. That's the voice. That's the voice of the podcast. And I'm like, yeah, it's really me. That's my voice. Yeah. I'm not pretending to be anybody, just me. And he's like, the instant smile on his face was like, you're a real person. Wow. Imagine that.
Expect you to sound different.
It's the real Tamzin Hall. She's real. What a cool moment.
I'm not AI generated. I'm definitely here.
Now that is a perfect segue. I love that. Yes. So be real, share your story, be a real person, have genuine connection with your listener. Whoever's following, whoever your client is, show up and be the real you, and you will combat all of this artificial intelligence that's out there. Because that's one thing that it can't do. It can't be you. So.
No. Definitely can't be. Definitely can't be.
So the whole world of AI, Tamzin Hall. This is the first way to start with this. What excites you about artificial intelligence, and what makes you nervous about artificial intelligence?
Okay, so I think what makes me nervous about it is that we're actually going to lose the personality, or potentially we're going to lose people's personality because we're trusting computers to impersonate us, to do things that we should be doing. It's going to take away the fun and play from what we try and do. But I think also it is going to save us so much time. It's going to help us to streamline things. It's going to help us to live a more fun and a more playful life, because we're going to have more time to play and have fun, rather than my Alexa is probably, in fact, there's two things. There's two things in my house that I love, which I think are probably AI. I think Alexa's one of them. So I can ask Alexa if my son's got homework, and she will tell me. She's that good, right? I love that. I don't have to sit down at my computer, log onto my laptop, log onto the school portal, go into the relevant thing. She can just tell me in 2 seconds. She can tell me what he has to do. So I love my Alexa. And I have a robotic Hoover.
Yeah.
Have I told you about my Hoover? Would that be AI?
Well, I guess.
I'm gonna say he's AI. He's called Fred. He's called Fred. I press his button and he hoovers. Yes. He hoovers. He knows when the walls are there or when there's things there that he can't go near, but he hoovers for me. He tells me when he needs emptying. He tells me when he's stuck on something. He takes himself back home to his charging point. I couldn't live without Fred. Now, if I didn't have Fred in my life, I would have to spend, I don't know, half an hour a day maybe hoovering. Well, now I can press the button on Fred. He can hoover while I go and do something fun and playful and enjoy myself.
I like it.
So possibly not the AI you were thinking about when we're talking about AI and everything we're talking about, but I think the point is that would I use AI to write an essay for me? No. But can people use AI to write an essay for them? Yes. Would I ask AI to write a blog post for me? No. Do people? Yes. I don't, because I want to bring my personality and my fun and play into it. That's my, I suppose that's my nervousness. But yeah, like what I love is the fact that we can use AI and we can have more fun because of it.
Yeah, so I went to ChatGPT and I typed in about myself and my wife and our business. And we can go Google ourselves, which sounds funny to say, but I ChatGPT'd myself, and it actually came back with an information about me. And I was like, what? It told me I lived in a different part of Canada than where I live. It told me that I have a herb garden, which I don't. But it did know my business. It did know my wife's name. It did know how long we've been in business and that we do certain things in our business. And I'm like, so I responded back to ChatGPT and said, thank you, but as an update, I do not live in this part of Canada and I don't have a herb garden. And it came back to me. He's like, oh, my apologies. I will update our system. Thank you for letting us know. And then I did it again, and all the information was correct without the information that was wrong. And I'm like,
so if I put into ChatGPT, tell me about Tamzin Hall, will it tell me?
I would probably put Tamzin Hall coaching. Put that in there and see what happens. And
I'm going to do that.
It is crazy. So the one thing I love about AI is that there was a day when we had typewriters, and now we have computers. There was a day when we had encyclopedias, and now we have Google. Right? So there is some progression that happens in life. That happens. If you've ever typed anything in a little squiggly line underlines a misspelled word, it's kind of like AI. It's telling you made a mistake and you might want to fix that spelling error. So we're using it. We have Alexa, we have Amazon, we have all these tools at our disposal that we didn't have 40 years ago. Yes. Right? So things have been moving. I like to dip my toe in it and understand it, but not rely on it. And somebody said to me, Tamzin, treat these AI tools as an assistant, but not as an employee. Don't give them tasks that you would give to a person to do while you go do something else. But use them.
But I do that with my robot.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he's fine. He's accepting.
It's fine.
But don't give creating a website or creating a book, writing a book or writing a blog. Don't give that to them as an employee, but use it as an assistant. So when you're stuck and you're like, I'm looking for inspiration today on my next blog post about fill in the blank, you can go to AI tools and they can give you some suggestions. What happens with those suggestions is the next step, where you bring it into your world and say, well, this is how I would talk about it. Yes. That I like.
And then rewrite it and reword it and tweak it and make it you. I did a research project on AI a couple of years ago. So it's part of my psychology degree. And that was interesting. And obviously that was, 2 years ago, out of date now because of how far we've come. But it was interesting how the perception of some people is that this is bad. this is bad. This is something that we're going to lose control. We're going to be taken over by robots. We're going to be taken over by. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's that, like you say, AI is supporting us in a really busy world. It's supporting us to still be able to live a life and have fun and still go out and play. I'm so sorry. Can you hear my dog dreaming?
I love it. It's ambiance.
There's also some rabbit or something that she's chasing. I love hearing dogs dream. Right? I love it. It's the noises and the paws that move. Sorry. You see, you can't get that from AI.
No way. Love it. So yeah, the one thing I love about AI is it's a tool. Use it as an assistant, not an employee. And then, but then bring it back into your world, because again, the only thing that's going to really make you stand out on your website, with 4 ducks staring at me, the only things that make you stand out on your website, on the stage, in a meeting, in your business, on a podcast, in your book, is you. There's no one else that can duplicate who you are. It's impossible. So even if there is a Dave Campbell coaching.co.uk, which there isn't, I have a totally different way of doing what I do than what you have to do. So you find your spot, you focus in on that, you find the time to play, and unleash your creativity. Use the tools around you that help free up time to have more time to play. Right? Yeah. And then find your creative edge and come to the microphone, come to your business as the real you, because no one can duplicate it.
No, absolutely not. And if we use AI as an assistant, I love that, by the way. I love that. If we use AI as an assistant, we can still be uniquely us and bring our own thing. Because if we had 1,000 podcasts, all AI generated, there's no uniqueness. There's no Keith finding you because of what you do and what you give, because it will be AI'd. I don't know if that's a word, but I've made it a word.
Right. Tamzin, I love having you here. I know you got to jump to your next thing today. I really appreciate it. Please come back, because I need more Tamzin Hall in my life, and I've got my fix for now, but that's going to quickly fade away, and I'm going to need more. TamzinHallCoaching.co.uk is the updated, beautiful website. If you're allergic to color, you might want to take a pill before you come to this website, because you're going to get a lot of color. It's beautiful. It's really, really good. Tamzin, I love it. I love what you've done with your site. Tamzin, before we go, tell people who you help and how they connect with you.
Yeah. Okay. I will be back once I've got my ACC, so my exams in a couple of weeks, on a Sunday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning for 3 hours. Yeah. So after that, I will be back to tell you all about it.
Nice.
Maybe I'll just be celebrating, or commiserating. I don't know. So, who am I? So I'm Tamzin. I'm a performance psychology coach, but I bring play into everything that I do and fun into everything I do, because we need to get rid of that boring, archaic, corporate, starchy way that adults tend to go down, and we need to make it colourful and fun and unique to us and enjoyable, because life needs to be enjoyable in everything we do. So I help people bring that enjoyment in, whether it's into business, with leaders, helping leaders to bring fun and play into work and into their teams, and just to really create high performing businesses and organizations and people as well. So that is me. I can't remember what else you asked me, but
love it.
A message for people. I'm going to give people a message. Do one thing for me, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, wherever you are in the world. Just go and today do something playful, do something fun, unleash your inner child, whatever it is, whether it's something small, whether it's something big, just go and have some fun. even if you think, like Dave said at the beginning of this, I don't have time, just go and have 5 minutes and play and do something fun. And I'd love to know what you choose. I'd love to know what you choose.
Nice. Yeah, there's a good call to action. And for our listeners around the world, just let's clarify. Can you please spell the word color for me correctly? Please.
I don't know. Is this going to get into a political
No,
debate?
I just want to spell it correctly from the people who created the language.
COLOUR.
Thank you. And the U is in there because you matter in many, many, many things.
I love that. I love
And all of our US listeners are going, hey. Yes. The language started where it started. Let's just acknowledge that. And thank you, Tamzin, for being part of the podcast. You always class up the place, Tamzin. I love having you here. Thank you so much. So good.
So funny. It's so funny. Brilliant.
All right. Thank you,
Brilliant.
Tamzin.